good evening. Today I'd like to talk to you about tree knocking. One of the long-time things associated with Bigfoot activity is tree knocking. Hearing a loud pop in the woods that sounds like two pieces of wood being hit together, or a branch hitting a tree, sometimes rocks being clacked together, or the sounds of hands being clapped out in the woods. This is done for several reasons, purportedly by these Bigfoot creatures. All across the United States, it seems to be a pretty universal thing that is happening when these creatures are around. It seems to be their way of communicating, hunting, and some other behaviors that I've heard about. So I'd like to go over them with you guys today. There seems to be three reasons primarily why they're doing this. There could be others, but here's some of the things I've heard over the years and would like to pass on to you guys. One of the things that they do is for general communication, kind of like a location. If you're walking down a trail or down a canyon or something and you hear a knock off in the distance, and then you hear another knock off in the distance but coming from a different direction, or you hear 1-2 knocks and then you hear one knock reply from the other side, this is just a way to say, hey, here I am. I see what you're seeing too. Or a lot of times it can be an alert. If there's reports of like a sentinel Sasquatch, one that's keeping an eye out, it's his way of alerting the others. Maybe to danger without hooting and hollering and making noises. And probably deer and other prey species, if you made a noise or spoke or yelled, would react to it. But the sound of tree knocking in the woods, wood on wood, clapping, rocks, that kind of a thing is a little bit more unnoticeable. The other thing is, I think it's a straight up hunting behavior. They use knocks for, like I was saying, kind of like general communication, but when they're in hunt mode, they don't hoot, they don't holler, they don't whoop. They use the knocking to, hey, they probably knock, hey, I see prey. Another knock, I see it too, it's coming towards you. A lot of people have reported that tree knocking is a hunting-like behavior while they're actively doing it. It's kind of their stealth mode to kind of hide out in the open. They can make a loud noise to get to signal each other without vocalizing. So if you hear knocks in the woods, a lot of times they are in the area. Woodpeckers do make a noise, but it's more of a thump, 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 repeated noise. You hear a single knock in the woods and you hear it somewhere else. Usually that's a pretty good sign that Bigfoot's in the area. So we have general communication, we have hunting communication. The other thing, a story that I heard on Sasquatch Chronicles, and I've heard a couple other people report this too, is a guy witnessed a Bigfoot from a long way off. I believe he was hunting and spotted it through a scope. He sees this big monkey-looking creature walking through the woods, and what he was doing is he took a big log off a tree, and he was thumping it against trees, and he would hit a tree really hard, then press his ear against the tree. Then he'd move on to another tree, usually dead ones, hit it really hard, knock, and then put his ear against the tree. And he was trying to figure out what this creature was doing, this Bigfoot. So eventually he saw it knock on a tree and put his ear against it. And then all of a sudden he kind of stood back and then went over and started tearing the tree apart, tearing the bark off. And when he was able to get his arm in there, he pulled out like a raccoon or a possum, some creature, and started eating it. So that's kind of an interesting checking for hollow trees, knock on it, put his ear against it, see if he hears something move around. Very fascinating. So those are kind of the three basic things for tree knocking: general communication, hunting communication, and then checking trees. There's probably other things out there. If you know of any other Bigfoot activity that's subscribed to tree knocking, please let me know in the comments. This is Mattsquatch. Thank you very much. Please like, subscribe, share this video, and have a wonderful evening.